Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. I'm an immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. Somebody asked me in the comments on YouTube today, hey, Jim, could you talk a little slower? I don't know about that because I got a lot to say. I got a lot of topics to cover, a lot of people to talk to, a lot's going on, and I can't really just talk very slowly. I do think YouTube has the option to turn on transcripts and also to watch at a slower speed. You know, in my very first videos, if you see them, they're like this. Hi, what do I do if I want to bring my spouse to the United States and the embassy isn't really helping me out? That's about how fast I talked. It's because I was nervous and I wasn't sure how to talk, and I think I've gotten a lot faster and a lot better thanks to spending my time with all of you. You know, I didn't tell you guys this, but couple months ago, I had to argue a motion to dismiss in Utah. And I honestly believe that having this show and talking to you guys every day has made me a better lawyer. It makes me able to talk on my feet much more. It lets me think what I'm going to say next while I'm talking, which is really, really a cool trait to have. And it's something I didn't have before I started the live show. So thank you to all of you for that. Now, before I get to today's callers, and it looks like the waiting room is almost full, hard to believe. And if you want to know how that happened, these smart people texted the word show to 314-470-3300. And they got on our text line so that when my assistant Umra sends out the link, they can get here early. And I know some people get here a good while early. And I see Yusuf's in the waiting room, and Yusuf was here yesterday, so I'll try to get to you, Yusuf. But before I do any of that, I need to talk to some viewers overseas. And specifically, there's a young man who's in the United States, and his fiance is from Nigeria. And he has a I-129F that has been pending for her for a year. He filed it in August of 2022. And he's floating the possibility of filing a lawsuit. And the main reason he's doing that is because the young lady's family is pissed at him because it's taking so long. That's right. They're blaming him for the inability of the U.S. federal government to do their job. So mom and dad of the nice young lady who's engaged to this fine fellow, he's not doing anything wrong. This is not about him. This is not about his case. This is about an embassy and an agency that simply won't do their job. So I'm asking you to cut him a little slack, to understand that his intentions are good, and it's only because USCIS is sitting on their tuchus and not taking action on the 485, on the I-130, or the I-129F. Get your form straight, immigration lawyer man. Because they won't act on the fiance case, it looks like nothing's happening. Now, he talked to us about filing a lawsuit, and I think that's probably a good call. It's been a year, and usually USCIS doesn't fight with us when they file a lawsuit. Now, he said that somebody has floated the idea that they secretly get married and still proceed on a fiance case. That's so that he can show his devotion to your daughter. That's a really bad call. I don't know who floated that idea. I've had that case. I've had that case probably 6 or 7 times. The embassy and USCIS always have an amazing ability to figure that out. So that would be the one thing you don't want to do. One option is to file the lawsuit, which is sort of what I'm recommending. Another option is to get married and file an I-130. But the problem with that is you're starting all over. Now, fans of the show know that I'm not a big fan of fiance cases right now. But because they have 12 months invested in this, I think you got to let it play out. So I would push USCIS to try to give it an approval notice on the I-129F, the fiance petition, get it over to the NBC and the embassy as fast as possible. But I can tell you from young people who I've spoken to on this show and who've called our office and who we've actually represented, that I know it's hard for your daughter to be separated from him and to feel like nothing's happening. I know that's hard, but it's hard here for him too. He's doing everything he can to try to make things work, to try to get the case moving. And it's simply the agency's fault. It's not his fault. So maybe go a little bit easy on him. Know that he's doing his best. If he hires us to file a lawsuit, I think that would help. And then maybe he might want to get our help to try to get things moving quickly through the visa process. But at the end of the day, this is not his fault. And I just want you to know that. With that, I'm going to get to the calls. And I told Yusuf I'd come first. Oh, yeah. If I haven't already, hey, Kapil, if I haven't already, let us know where you're watching from. Let us know what's going on in your neck of the woods. We always love to see. Salvador's in Miami. Femi's in H-Town. Ozan is in D.C. So let us know where you're watching from. Yusuf.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you doing? You want to be off camera?
Yes, sir.
You are off camera. Go ahead.
So I got two questions, and I think they're really important, probably for other people too. First, if I have a receipt of asylum being submitted since June 30th this year, when do you think the earliest, based on your experience, to file a lawsuit? I know that I filed a lawsuit for the asylum decision itself. So when do you? I want to get that green card the soonest I can, and I don't think money is a problem. So when do you think the soonest I can, which is in which the USCIS would not probably? I know that they could fight at any time, but what is the soonest I can?
I would say certainly no sooner than a year. And depending on where you live, you might want to even give them a year and a half, but somewhere in that year to year and a half range.
So I applied to Texas, but they took it to the National Benefits Center.
Yeah, that's all internal stuff. You can't do anything about that.
Okay. And I'm going to move to Chicago soon. So are we going to file a lawsuit against Chicago?
Well, make sure you change your address as soon as you move. And I would love to sue them in Chicago. That's a great place to sue because the U.S. attorney there and their staff is top notch. And the field office gets working as soon as they get sued. So I think that's a good place to sue. Yeah.
What about if they don't move it to Chicago? Do we sue the National Benefits Center?
If you live in Chicago, that's where we'll sue.
Oh, I see. Okay. So that is my question. Another one, my brother, both of us on the stand, we both applied, and both of us said that the fingerprints were already taken, but they sent my brother a notice for fingerprint interview. Is that normal?
Fingerprint interview? You mean a biometrics appointment?
Biometrics, yeah. Even though both of our statuses says that they reused it, they didn't. I called them. They said they didn't send anything to me, but for my brother they did. So is that normal? I guess they do it for some people.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that.
All right. And here's my question. My dad has applied for multiple visas. One time he got for multiple visitor visas. At the beginning 2013, it got refused, but then he got 3 granted after that. Now on the latest one, he's put on administrative processing. There's a petition from his uncle coming up. We're going to start filing right now through the DS-260. The only question that came to my mind, first, they're asking for military records. I don't think we do, and they think they said that if you don't have it or you can't retrieve it, it's okay, just tell us. The other thing it says on the DS-260, have you ever served in the military, which is the same question on former DS-160s. The question is, he technically was enrolled at the time it was compulsory, but he really did not actively serve due to a severe acne. He didn't even get benefits or paid from the Department of Defense. So theoretically, it's understandable on why would somebody answer no, correct?
Disagree.
Disagree in terms of?
If he was in the military, he was in the military, and the last thing you want to do is say no when the answer is yes.
But he was enrolled, but did not actively serve. He did not serve in anything in relation to combat or anything like that.
That's not the question. The question isn't did you serve in combat. The question is, were you in the military?
Okay. Then the situation is, if the prior applications he said no, and on this one he said yes, they never asked him on the interview that anything about military. So if he were to fix it, is that okay?
Boy, you sure are minimizing a lot of things that are pretty serious. The questions are identical on the 160 and the 260.
Yeah, it's just have you ever served? Yeah.
So
because there's another question about have you ever been in an organization, and he used to be at the United Nations in the Food and Agriculture as a senior officer at the United Nations too, but we didn't put that because we didn't understand the question.
Not an excuse. This is all bad, dude. Everything you're telling me is bad. Everything you're telling me is a way that they can give him a misrepresentation and not let him come.
So I contacted visa officers. There's it says Argo. They're former visa officers. They said usually mistakes happen, but it's only counted as misrepresentation in terms of the embassy. If that military service would have made him ineligible, so I mean mistakes could happen, but if it was the fact that he was in the military and he had the intent to hide it, and that fact that service specifically would have made him ineligible, like if he were to be he did crimes against humanity or whatever. At that point, they would count it as misrepresentation.
I disagree, and I've seen plenty of decisions where you're assuming they're acting in good faith. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they act in bad faith and they look for things. So we have what they could call a pattern of misrepresentation on multiple DS-160s. He indicated that he was not in the military. He also didn't mention the UN forces. So I think inshallah everything will go fine and hopefully everything's good. Hopefully he sails through. But if you're asking me, Jim, do you think I think it's a 20% chance of a problem.
Okay. Okay. So I mean, it
Saying
could be.
saying we didn't understand the question, that's bullshit.
No, I understand, but the military, in the sense, I think the military means that you have to be in combat.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It does not. There's zillions of people who've been in the military who have never been in combat. Never. They've still been in the military. They still have a military record. They still have to mark yes.
I know.
The more you minimize it, the more you make it likely this is going to come back and bite them in the ass.
No. The only say reason, and I know you're this. It's the main question on the form. It says, "Have you ever served?"
Okay.
That word "served."
I'm gonna go, Yusuf. See you, brother. He's not listening. People love to call up here and get me to say what they want them to say. I'm not going to say what you want me to say just because you want me to say it. That is not my job. That is not my role. That is not what I do. And I'm certainly not going to do it 6 times in a row when you keep asking me the same question. This is like my daughter who wants to have a sleepover on Saturday and won't stop asking me. But why? Why can't I have a sleepover? Why is military? Why is that military? It's not. He didn't serve in any combat. He didn't commit. I mean, he just said he didn't commit any war crimes. Those aren't the questions. Question is, was he ever in the military? And you marked no on the DS-160, not once, not twice, but 3 times, and you didn't list membership at the UN. Jay is here. Hello, Jay. You're on mute, Jay.
Yes, I was on mute. Thank you. Hey, Jim. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. Fellow St. Louis, moved here 2 years ago.
How do you like it?
I like it good. I like it so far. A lot more
Nice.
social life for sure.
Good.
So I was an F1 student. I am on H1 currently.
Great.
I also recently received my EAD and AP combo card through a family petition, through a family green card F2B petition. And I am looking to changing jobs, and I'm wondering if I should just transfer H1 or use my EAD.
So I'm a big believer in maintaining your H-1B for as long as you can and to not rely on, I mean, F2B right now is got a pretty severe weight. So I don't like, this is the way I picture it. I don't like people having their butt out in the wind solely on the EAD when they have the opportunity to stay on the H-1B. So if employer number 2 is willing to sponsor you, and like, I don't know if I would even mention to them that I have the EAD because they might
not yet. No.
They might want to cheap out and have you just go on the EAD. But I think one, you have the right to have the H-1B transferred. 2, most H-1B employers I know, they're very happy to get that transfer because they don't have to go through the lottery. They know they're getting you. It's relatively easy. It's relatively quick. I mean, they still have to go through the process, but it's very consolidated. It's very quick, and you can start as soon as they get the receipt notice. So if I were you, I would just dummy up and say, we're going to need this H-1B transferred, and they're going to say, okay.
Okay. Another follow-up there would be, actually, never mind. I think that's the only question I had.
Cool, Jay. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
See ya. Patrick is here. Patrick Papa. What's up, Patrick Papa? I like that shirt. I like that shirt.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's very sunny right here in Las Vegas. So I have a question, Jim. My question is that I filed for my wife I-130, so it's approved, but they send it to the wrong city. I mean, wrong country. What can I do?
So walk me through it. So this is an I-130 for what, a spouse overseas?
Yeah, for my wife, she's overseas. She's in Congo, so they sent application to the wrong embassy, which is the other Congo. So it's two Congo, Congo Republic Democratic, where I'm from, and then they send it to Congo Brazzaville.
Really?
So yeah, so I don't know what to do. Do I have to email them or to do what?
So what I would do is I would start emailing the correct embassy. I'm sure this happens from time to time over there, as dumb as it is. Like I can't. My son loves geography. When we watch Jeopardy, he says, "Don't show me the map," because he's really good. He can look at all of Africa without the country names on there, and he can tell me every one. So I'm going to tell him this story, and he's going to laugh. But I'm sure this happens more often than you would think. So I think if you start emailing the embassy where it's supposed to be, and say, "Hey, can you guys help me out?" They send it to the wrong embassy. I think that's the proper way to do it, and then they should know what to do.
Oh, thank you. The second question is that do I have to file for I-485 or not?
No. You've done everything you need to do because you've already done the DS-260. You uploaded the checklist. You paid the fees, and the case is on its way to an embassy. So the only thing left that you have to do is, once your spouse has their visa in hand and they're getting ready to come to the United States, you'll get online and you'll pay this thing called the Ellis fee. I think it's like $220, $260, and then they'll get a green card within 4 to 6 weeks after they arrive in the U.S.
All right. Thank you so much, Jim.
You got it. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Patrick. See you, buddy. I like it when people are happy. I like it when people don't fight with me. And I saw, Jacob had a message and Omar had a message. Jacob said, "Watching from Colorado, just another thanks to Jim for successful mandamus lawsuit. If you're waiting too long, don't hesitate to call." Yeah. That's great. That is great. All right. Let's see. And Omar got his green card without an interview for both the I-130 and the 45. Took 15 months. That's not bad. I mean, it's a little long, but it's nice not having an interview. All right. So Las Vegas is back. What's up, Las Vegas?
Not much, man. How you doing, Jim?
I'm great. How you doing? That looks nice. That pool looks nice.
Thank you. It's Vegas. Hot. Okay. So now my question is, let's say I go with the lawsuit and then USCIS denied my request, my I-485. What's my next option?
Well, you'd either have to refile it or you'd have to file a motion to reopen or reconsider, depending on what the basis of the denial is.
Okay, basically, I'm assuming based on my criminal history, but that's what I'm thinking. Besides nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to wait and see what happens. Your case is sort of stuck, so I think that the only way to find out is to sue them and then deal with it then.
Okay, then. So after, can you do all that after if I have
Sure.
to?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Then I got your email, so I'm gonna get the ball rolling.
Awesome. Thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
Have a good day. All right. Stefan is here. Hello, Stefan. You're on mute, I think. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Hello. Do you get
Hello.
me?
How you
Yes.
doing?
I'm good, thank you. My mom applied for asylum in 2010. She put me in her document. So she filed from 730 for me to come to the US in 2012, and I was only able to come here in 2022. So when I came to the US, I found out that my mom naturalized. So I entered as an asylum, but I found out that my mom naturalized. So I'm now I'm not ineligible to just go on and adjust status like that. So I wanted to know what can I do about that, because the things was complicated.
It is complicated. There is a way to fix this. So what we have to do is we have to go back and amend the asylum, what's called nunc pro tunc. I just did this out in Arizona, I think, last year. So if you email me, I can walk you through what needs to happen in order to fix this. But there is a way to fix it, even though mom naturalized.
So, what are the processing time for the non-potent process?
Well, it's sort of a discretionary thing where you sort of have to bang on the door and get them to pay attention. So it's not going to be overnight, that's for sure.
All right. Okay. I think it's that.
Yeah,
So,
just send me an email. Send me an email with everything you got, all your paperwork, and then we can follow up tomorrow.
Also, I wanted to know, since I'm just under age, that is less than 21 years, what if, since she's a US citizen now, we apply for the 130 and the 145 concurrently?
Not a bad plan. Not a bad plan. I'd want to look everything over before I signed off on that, but that might be better. Yeah, you're right, because you'd go straight to getting a green card. But I want to make sure that the rules allow it, because you entered a certain way, and I don't want to mess that up. But I think the good thing is you have several options.
All right.
How old are you?
I will mail the office.
How old are you? How
19.
old are you?
19.
Okay. I'd say hurry up, okay?
Mm-hmm. All right.
Thanks, Stefan. See you, bud.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. All right. Let's see. Aqueous Spaces is here. What's up?
What's good?
How you doing?
I'm doing really well. I just got off of work. I'm glad I could catch the live.
Sure. What's up?
First and foremost, I want to say that I just found your channel, the whole thing you're doing like last week, and I want to start off with saying, I absolutely love with what you're doing. Like,
Awesome.
I really appreciate some good shit.
I appreciate that.
All right, so I'll get to the point. So I'm looking to marry a person from Ecuador, and
Okay.
I've got a couple questions. I was referred to this channel, so I figured this is probably the easiest way to ask my questions.
Go for it.
All right. So first of all, I guess one of the first questions I want to ask is if the paperwork would go smoothly if we were married in Ecuador as opposed to marrying here.
Well, does she have a visa to come here?
No.
So how old is she?
26.
Has she ever been here before?
No.
Does she have like property? Is she rich? Does she have a job down in Ecuador?
She just lost her job. No.
So in my experience, young people of a marrying age who don't have a job or property or reasons to come back to Ecuador, usually they sometimes apply for a visit visa just for the reasons that you said, to come visit you and to meet you and all that stuff. Usually those get denied because they think they're coming to get married and get a green card, and they want them to wait in line like everybody else.
So, all right. Well, all right. So I've been looking into the whole process as best as I can. From what I understand, we need to obviously meet first. I'm going to be going to Ecuador in the next three weeks.
Yep.
I'll be spending almost a month with her.
Great.
Yes. And then, okay, so my plan is that after the visit, assuming me and her are both willing for it, which for the sake of this argument, for the sake of this conversation, let's say that it's going to
works out. Yeah, everything's cool.
So my idea is that I can help her with a fiance visa, and then she can come here. We get married within the first 3 months,
right?
And then obviously we live together and all that. So for the first question, I'm guessing it might be easier to get married here as opposed to in Ecuador.
I don't think it's hard. I mean, it's a country by country thing. You'd have to check the rules, but I think generally, if you can prove that you're single and eligible to marry and you go to that other country, I think probably in Ecuador, it's not as hard as you would think to actually get married. And that marriage is valid for my immigration purposes. But let me just talk a little bit about the fiance route. So the plan you've outlined is perfect. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I just want to say a couple of things. Number one, I'm always a little bit nervous when somebody either goes on one trip and files a fiance case as soon as they get back, or takes one trip and gets married on that trip and comes back and files an I-130 instead of the I-129F. Either time, one trip, I think it sets you up for a little bit of problems in getting the overall case approved. That's one thing I want to say. Does that make sense?
I understand there may be some hiccups or some
Slow
relative
down.
slowdown. That I'm okay with a slowdown, as long as that slowdown doesn't end up ultimately, driving a wedge between me and her. She ends up coming here and somehow it's so slow they end up sending her back to Ecuador or
Well, that's a
something.
good thought. I mean, but at the same time, like, let's say that I don't know if you're going to hire us or not, but let's say you did hire us for this. So then, I get hired by the couple, and the couple are indeed my client. But what I tell people in that situation is, yeah, you guys are my client, but really my client is getting a green card for her. Like, that's my real client. I care more about winning the case than what you guys want day to day in your lives, right? So if I think I can get an edge by taking certain approaches, I want to fight for that edge, because I'd rather it take a little longer and win than have it go a little faster and lose.
Yeah, I'm completely good with that.
So again, I would encourage you. I'd love it if you went down there and visited her, and then what I would want is for you to come back a little while later and then get married on that second trip, and then come back and file an I-130. I'm down on fiance cases right now. There's an old myth, an old wives' tale, that they went faster than spouse cases. That's not true anymore. And the other thing is, there's this weird thing that happens, and I don't know. So you start with USCIS. So whether you do the fiance case or the spouse case, it starts with USCIS. Once that petition is approved, then it goes to the State Department. And we just saw it again last week. The State Department is doing this weird thing in some cases that they don't like. They don't approve or deny it. They say, oh, the fiance approval from USCIS has expired. And even though 95% of the time we just extend that validity date, we have chosen not to do that in your case. And then you're fucked and you're starting all over. And that's why I'm trying to encourage people to do marriage. So if I'm in charge of the whole situation, you go down for your 3 weeks, have a great time. You show her this video and say, I'd love to file as soon as I get back, but Jim says it's better to wait and come back in 2 or 3 months and then get married. I'm totally cool with that. And I think that puts you in the best position for success.
Okay. Now, I will definitely be taking that into consideration. I'm going to be thinking about it all night.
Yeah, good.
But on the other hand, I've already been I got a one-track mind, like, so
your train is down that track further than I am. I get it.
Okay. All right. So along with the idea that I do have, I go visit her. We make sure everything is good with each other and we love it. I come back and not right away. I'm assuming maybe for court cases, for the legality of the situation, whatever. Maybe it'd be best wait a few, like 5 months or whatever like that, before bringing anything to court.
Well, it's not court. It's not court. It's an agency. If you're talking about doing a fiance case, I would do it the day you get back. I wouldn't wait 5 months. There's no reason to wait.
Okay.
Nothing's gained. I mean, how long have you guys been talking online and stuff?
About, I'd say, less than a year.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe it gets a tiny bit better, but dude, the delays on these cases. I mean, I'm talking to someone on a fiance case right now. They're looking at 2 years total. So to add 5 months to that, I don't know. Because remember, even after you file, you're still going to be able to develop evidence later on for the embassy interview. So I wouldn't do. I mean, again, you didn't like everything that I said, so I get it. You're going to think about it, which is good. But that one little piece you just said, I don't think there's any reason to wait once you get back. Because if nothing else, if anybody dings her for it, say, look, the reason we filed as soon as he got back is because you fools are taking 2 years and we didn't want to wait.
Okay. So you're saying obviously it would be better if I don't wait at all. If as soon as I come back, if I'm really willing for it, I just put it right into motion.
I told you what I think is best, but yeah, that's fine. I'm okay.
Yes, yes, that's true. Okay, okay, okay. All right. I got one more question.
Sure.
Okay, so I did speak with someone from the agency, the hacking agency that you work with.
Yeah. Yeah.
They sent me a link on I forget the term, evidences or something
Yeah.
to.
The marital evidence of the joint evidence of the joint relationship. Sure.
Yes. Okay. So upon looking through that, I was saying like it is okay if it is a renting situation for the house that we live in. That
Well, remember, so I really should be more clear on this. We probably should have two different sheets. We should have one sheet. We should have one sheet for when the beneficiary, the non-citizen, is in the United States, and we should have one sheet for Julie, will you remind me of this? We should have one sheet for when the couple was apart, because the types of evidence available to a couple that's together in Louisiana or Texas or Georgia or wherever, that's going to be very different than if one member of the couple is in the United States and one is in Ecuador. You're going to have a totally different slant to it, a totally different feel to it. So I probably should clarify that. But as far as, marital evidence related to whether you're leasing or owning, that's you're a long way from that, and you don't need to worry about that right now. And that's not going to help you. What you're talking about, if you come back from the fiance trip, from your trip, then I think what you're talking about is screenshots of conversations over the last year, any pictures or things, and then obviously you want to document the shit out of the trip, the tickets,
take a lot of
the
photos.
the photos, the hotel, whatever, whatever you go out to dinner, you keep the receipts, you demonstrate everything you do there. I would make a little scrapbook of everything you do for the 3 weeks that you're there. Just pictures of you with her family, whatever. You want to document all that, and then but as far as what's on our evidence of marriage list, usually that's for people that are living together here in the United States.
Okay, so would the evidence list not really matter after she moves in with me? Because I'm more concerned with the matter of I am renting a house right now with other individuals. And
I see. So you're talking about after she gets approved for the fiance case, she's here and you're applying for her green card if you're living with other people in the house?
Correct. And for her to have her name on the title here and for her to be.
Yeah. So I would set an aspirational goal to have our own place at the time that you file the green card. So so the fact of the matter is when people live together when people live together with other individuals who are not family, to me, that's usually an economic situation. And I think it's one of the ways that USCIS discriminates against lower income people, because they sort of ding you for having these other people. And then they're like, well, is that other person living? Like I had a case we had to sue them on, and we had an interview twice down in St. Louis, and it was all about the landlord was also the person that signed the affidavit of support, was also someone that the couple worked with. So there was a lot of back and forth about the living situation. So again, if I can get an edge and have you living somewhere else where it's just the two of you, I'm going to go for that if I can. Otherwise, you're going to have to explain it, and it's going to be a pain in the ass. Remember, you're worrying about things that are 18 months or 2 years apart. You think you might win the lottery. Who knows what's going to happen? You might get a better job, or she might start working when she gets here. So I wouldn't sweat that too much. That's a problem for future aqueous spaces.
Okay. All right. So I won't stress over it. I was really just trying to drive the nail in and try to like make sure, because realistically speaking, I don't see myself moving out of my current circumstance for maybe 3 years, something like that. So
okay. Well, if you can
looking into hiring you. I'm definitely looking into hiring you and your agency. I just want to.
That's fine. That'd be great. We would like that. But as far as moving, if you can explain it, and frankly, you can actually turn that on its head. So let's say you're in a house with 3 other people. I mean, I would get affidavits. If I'm your lawyer, I would get affidavits from all of them saying, my name's Jim. I live in this house. They live here. I see them living together as husband and wife. They seem completely legit. I went to their wedding. We had fun. They're nice people. She's good and should get a green card. I mean, so you can actually flip it on its head and use something that could
For
be
the benefit.
a perceived weakness as a strength.
Okay, okay. That's perfect. For now, that would be the majority of all my questions. If I think of anything else, obviously I'll come back for another great episode.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with everything. Yep. See, that's what I'm always trying to do. I'm always trying to flip it on its head. Like if something is weak in the case, how do we make it stronger? How do we take, I always say, how do we take away reasons for them to say no? How do we take away reasons for them to slow that shit down? Those are the two big questions. And that's what our checklists in the firm are for. That's what our cover letters for. That's what all of our systems and processes are for. You know, Adele and I sat down a while back and we figured out that on an I-130 away, which is the kind of case that he would have if he got married, or an I-129F, same thing. There are literally, when we counted, 77 steps to the process, which are all opportunities for things to go off the rails, for things to take a left turn. You know, your biggest enemy might not necessarily be getting the case approved. Your biggest enemy might be delay caused by mistakes, right? And so that's what you have to always be thinking about, almost like an immigration ninja. How do I take what they're giving me, jiu-jitsu? How do I do some jiu-jitsu and flip it? How do I make the case stronger? How do I take, you know, like my mom tried to sell the house that I now live in. We bought it from them because they couldn't sell it. And there were two big problems with the house. One is there wasn't a ground floor bedroom, and the kitchen really sucked. It was sort of really small and tight. And we opened it all up and we added a first floor bedroom because we wanted to take away the reasons for potential buyers somewhere down the road to say no. And we wanted to have a nice place to live. So that should always be something in your mind. Like, how do I find this is something I learned from Karl Rove. Karl Rove was a political operative. He worked for George Bush. Yeah, George Bush. And he did the opposite. He would say, if my candidate's running against someone, how do I take their strongest argument for being president and make it their biggest weakness? And he did it to John Kerry. John Kerry had received the Purple Heart. He was a Vietnam vet, a hero in the Vietnam War. And he was running against George Bush, who had gotten out of military service. I don't remember why. I think it was bone spurs, but that might have been Trump. I don't remember. And Karl Rove was able to twist it so that John Kerry was the bad guy when it came to the military and George Bush was the good guy. And so that's sort of our goal, is like, how do I look at the case? How do I look at the factors and then find out what my biggest weaknesses are, and then shore that up, build that up, make that as strong as possible. You're listening to the Immigration Answers Show. This is episode number 421. My name is Jim Hacking. I'm an immigration lawyer. I really appreciate you joining. I'm going to get back to the calls in just a minute. I wanted to mention to you some resources, if you don't know already, like our friend Aquia Spaces just stumbled upon us a week ago. So for all of you who are looking for some free resources, we have a ton of them. I think pound for pound, we have more than anybody else. We have this Immigration Answer Show that I do 3 or 4 times a week. We have the YouTube channel where I have hundreds and hundreds of videos. We upload 3 new videos every week. We have our Facebook group. It's called Immigrant Home. And in there's about 10,000 immigrants talking about the immigration process, talking about processing times, what's going on at the embassies. We also have our TikTok channel that I do with my daughter, Nord. That's just me being silly about things related to immigration. And then, so those are all the free resources. If you're looking to hire our firm, and let me just mention, we don't do immigration in any other country except the United States. For some reason, we've been getting a lot of calls and texts from the Middle East about people who want to come to Canada. We can't help with that. And moreover, we can't help people find a job, right? We're not a job placement. So we'll get these emails. Hey, I drive a truck in Lebanon. Can you please help me come to the United States? Not our bag. If you have an employer, but if you want to hire us to be your lawyer, then there's 2 things you can do. You can call the office, 314-961-8200, or you can email us, info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. Our old friend Antonio's back. Let's see what Antonio has to say. Hopefully he's got some good news for us.
You know I do, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good.
So we got past all the red flags that I thought I had. I filed the K-3 a month after I filed the I-130, and I got my approval yesterday from USCIS.
So how long? That's great.
6 months. Great.
Good for you.
Thank you, man. So I'm waiting for the welcome letter from MVC. My question today is this. Since I filed the I-130, my mom has moved into my house. She retired. She sold her house, and now she's traveling. So she's living in my house. I work out of town, so I needed somebody there to watch the house, obviously. And so I'm never home. She's there now. Do I have to list her now on the 260?
Does it ask who else lives in your house?
I don't know. I thought I know the I-130 did.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if she's living there, I would say yeah. And if it's your mom, who cares?
Right. Okay. But she doesn't have to be a joint sponsor or anything. She just.
Well, that's the question I thought you were going to ask me. And
no, I don't need a joint sponsor. I make enough money to not need a joint sponsor.
Yeah. So you should be fine.
Okay. Second question is this: how backed up is the embassy in Jamaica? Any idea?
Oh, you'll have to wait for the comments. Everyone will chime in on that. We got lots of people in Jamaica. I don't know. I mean, I've often thought, Antonio, that we should start our own database, like let clients and people that watch the show send us their processing dates. Like if I had the time and the energy and the technology to do it, I think it would be really helpful to have actual processing times as opposed to the BS stated processing times.
Right.
But I bet within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, some people will tell you what they're seeing in Jamaica, or they'll see it in the comments tomorrow.
Perfect. Okay. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for all your help.
I'm glad your case is moving. See you, buddy.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Oh, that's our old friend Antonio. You know, one day Antonio is going to come on this show with his beloved from Jamaica, and we're all going to have a party. And that's what we do here. We celebrate when people get their immigration benefits, even if we don't represent them, because we are on a mission to help 10,000 people become U.S. citizens by the end of 2030. So if you want to help us with that, we'd appreciate the help. Y is here. What do you say, Y?
Hey, Jim. How you doing?
I'm good.
Can you hear me?
I got you.
Okay. Can I be off the camera?
You got it. No problem.
Appreciate
Go
it.
for it.
Thank you. I love what you're doing. I've been watching the show for a while. I mean, I got addicted to it even after I became a user.
That's the fun thing. The people like Nurse Laura who get their benefit, but they keep on watching. I think it's because they're often amazed. People are often amazed at how screwed up people can get their cases. Maybe many times not through their own fault. But go ahead.
Exactly. So, my
go ahead. Sorry.
On her asylum case, and she applied on 2015. Got interviewed in 2018 and won her asylum case in January 2019. So she's the only child of her parents. She lived with them overseas, but her dad was really sick, like dying for years. So she had to get an advance parole and go back to see her dad.
Okay.
They sent the interview letter while she was there, and she had no problem coming back. She came to her interview. We had a lawyer that won with her and an interpreter. Then she won her case. When she won her case, she applied for a travel document. She got it in 2 months. She went to see her family. She stayed 5 months, and she came back. We went to her lawyer to apply for the I-485. The lawyer had no problem. We went on and did the medical things and everything. And then we got a call from the lawyer saying, hey, we got to wait another 5 months. So she would be here for a whole year. We waited till 2020, exactly May 31st, 2020. We sent her her case and everything. With applying for a green card, a travel document, and a work authorization. She got the first two, and she didn't get her green card yet. I was just checking every day to see, and they said it always says fingerprint been applied. And then it started taking too long, and I called the lawyer, and she said, "Okay, we can call it like a senator and ask them to ask the immigration what's going on." They did, and the immigration replied saying, "Well, she's in the line. We don't have a lot of employees, and blah blah blah. But you can inquire back in 6 months." What we did, and they answered with the same question, and it seems like there's a machine answering, not a person typing on a computer.
That's true.
And the lawyer got really frustrated and said, we may want to go ahead and sue them.
Yeah.
Because they're not giving a like a frame time for any decision. And I thought about calling you about it, asking, especially that she never had like the work authorization they gave her expired in 2020 or 2019, so she has no work authorization, and she has no travel document or any document to travel to see her mom, because her mom is living by herself now. Her dad passed away in 2021.
Sorry to hear that.
And while everything's going on, we were living in New Orleans, and we moved to Mississippi in 2021. I became a U.S. citizen in 2021, and yeah, we don't know what to do now.
So what's the receipt date on the 485?
I think it's July 17th, 2020.
And when you applied, you were a green card holder. Have you notified them that you became a citizen?
Me?
Yeah, or your lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sorry, my son was texting me at the beginning of the call. What walk me through her status. Like, how was she here originally?
B1, B2.
And then did she overstay, or did she get married while on the...
No, she stayed for 4 months or 5 months. Then she went back to see if things are stable over there, but they were not. She was kidnapped. So she had to run. Her mom friends helped her to run back again here, and she applied when she came back.
Applied for asylum.
Applies for asylum, yes.
And then she got advanced parole on the asylum case.
Yes.
And when she left the United States, how long was she gone?
45 days, less than 45 days.
And she went back to the home country that she sought asylum from?
No, her dad was... The hospitals in her country kind of suck. So every time someone have like a bad illness, they take them to a neighboring country because...
So she didn't, during those 45 days, she didn't have to go back to the country she sought asylum from?
She'd never been back to her country since.
Good. And then when she went for asylum, were you guys already married or no?
We were not.
I'm sorry. When she went to visit her father, were you guys married yet or no?
No.
So you got married after she came back, right?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
I'm sorry. Yeah, like you got married after she came back.
We got married in 2021, way after everything. But we took the first kid in 2016, the second one in 2018.
Well, I thought you said the receipt date on the 45 was 2020.
Yes.
Is it a 45? It's a 45 based on marriage, though, right?
No, based on 1 year of asylum.
Oh, so she got granted asylum.
Yes, she got granted asylum like after less than 1 month of her interview in 20.
So there's no 485 pending right now based on an I-130 filed by you. It's all based on her asylum.
Based on her asylum.
Interesting. And did the asylum office give her asylum, or did a judge give her asylum?
No, asylum office gave her asylum.
Which one? Which asylum office?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. And now you live in Mississippi.
Yes.
So I have a 3-year-old green card case based on a prior grant of asylum where the person left on advanced parole during the time that the asylum case was pending. Right?
Yes.
And the person happens to be married to a U.S. citizen, although no one has filed anything based on that marriage. There's no I-130 on file based on that marriage.
Correct.
Okay. I think a lawsuit would help, and I think a lawsuit probably is needed because that's the new thing I'm going to start saying. I think a lawsuit would help, and I think a lawsuit is needed. And the reason for that is, you said that you've been banging your head on the wall trying to get them to decide something. I mean, there's an argument that you could file an I-134 and a 45, but she would lose all that time that the green card's been. I mean, her green card will be backdated a year from the date of approval. So if they approved it today, it would have started 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And then even though she's getting the green card through Asylum, and you're a citizen, she can apply for citizenship herself after 3 years, even though she didn't get her green card through you. So that's good. So that would buy you that 1 year back.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I think that the lawsuit is needed is because I think they are confused about her case. They're confused about the fact that she left. They probably will be surprised to find out she didn't go back to her home country when she got advanced parole. And sometimes that is a flag for them. Can you tell me what country she sought asylum from?
Mauritania.
Okay. So yeah, I would file a lawsuit on this one. I would file a lawsuit on this one, and I would think she'd get her interview in about a month or two, and then the case should be resolved in about 90 days. I would think. I don't think this is one they would file a motion to dismiss on or fight us on, because that's a really long time. And we've had to file a fair number of lawsuits for people who are trying to get their green cards based on asylum, because for a long time, the asylum office was separate from USCIS. And I think there's some stuff that remains from that separation that keeps USCIS from always wanting to approve every case that's based on asylum, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you said if she got her green card, gonna be like back 1 year from approval.
Yeah, if you get your green card based on asylum, and let's say it was approved today on August 23rd, 2023, it would say on the green card August 23rd, 2022.
And for her to apply for citizen, she'll have to wait another 4 year.
No, she could do it. Well, so this is an interesting question. So no, if you get your green card on any basis, but you're married to a U.S. citizen, you can apply after 3 years, right? Does that make sense? Even if you didn't get your green card based on marriage to the U.S. citizen, if two things are true, if you've had your green card for 3 years,
mm-hmm.
and if you've been married to a citizen for 3 years, then
mm-hmm.
you can apply. You can apply on that 3 year rule. Now, most people get that green card not through asylum. So the one thing I don't know is, can we use that 1 year that it goes back, or do we have to do it 3 years from the date she actually gets the green card? That's just something I'd have to research later.
Oh, okay.
That's an interesting question that I never thought about, though.
Because I remember when I got my asylum, after 1 year I applied for my green card, then I got my green card 4 months.
Yeah.
And it was back at 1 year from the day I got it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just don't know how I don't know how the rule that says you can apply for citizenship interacts with the fact that it's backdated a year. That's the only thing I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right. What about her AAD?
Well, I mean, we would sue for everything, but the green card will probably come just as fast as the work card. We'd throw it all in there, but you don't want the work card. You want the green card. That's the whole shooting match.
That's right.
So, yeah, go ahead. And I don't know. Have you emailed the office already and said you're thinking about filing a lawsuit? Are you in our system? Do you want to send over an email and say I was just on the show with Jim and I want to, we can do it that way if you want.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just send over an email, info@hackinglaw.com. Say I'm Y and I was on at the 50-minute mark, and they'll follow up with you tomorrow. Okay.
Sure. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Y. Good call. Those were good questions. I appreciate it. You got it. Mariah is here. Hello, Mariah.
Oh, thank God. Hi, Jim.
How you doing?
Not so good. I have been desperately trying to get in here to talk to you.
Oh.
First things first. Jenna, you talked to her on Sunday. She and I are in a Facebook group because we filed in December of 21 together. So I met her in that Facebook group, so I'm familiar with everything she's going through.
Is it the sad U.S. citizens of December 2021? I mean,
Gosh, I think so. I don't know what's going on, but there's so much going on. But anyways, so we have the K-1 visa. It'll be 2 years in December. I know you hate K-1 visas. So he had well, first of all, he was in London when we initially filed. And he ended up, his visa was running out because of the length of time that it was taking. So he had to go back home. He's from Bangladesh. So he went back home in March, and we do have a lawyer. He sent everything to MVC to transfer it before they sent it. He sent everything in March. As soon as he got home, he sent everything to NBC. NBC ignored it. They ended up sending us an email April 11th saying that it was sent to London. So we had a whole rigmarole to go through to get this case transferred to his country. It took about 4 months. Finally, we were able to make the interview. We get another runaround saying, oh, well, we have to approve your interview. Thanks, just be patient. So we finally got it, and it was the 17th of August.
In Dhaka?
So, yeah. So we had everything. The lawyer had sent everything. He goes to his interview, and his parents, his whole family went with him to show support, even though they had to stay outside.
Yeah.
So he gets in there, and the visa officer lady, he said she was just so rude. First of all, he gets to this window, and the windows, it's so it's hard to talk to somebody and feel comfortable. It's like us going to the DMV. You get
It's
your
all
number,
public. It's all
the window.
public. That's exactly what it's
So
like. Yeah.
she was drinking her coffee out of a cup. The coffee's dripping down her cup. She proceeds to lick the side of the cup, like in front of him. I mean, this is very, very professional, right? Yes, exactly.
Gross.
So,
Gross.
it is.
I'm gonna make a TikTok about that. I'm gonna make a TikTok about that.
I mean, it's really gross. So he was grossed out by that. And so she starts asking him questions. And we met on Facebook. Okay, we do have an age gap, but we met on Facebook through a mutual friend. And we were only supposed to be friends. I needed somebody to talk to and help me go through my divorce that I had been eagerly waiting to make, but it was COVID, so I couldn't file anything at that time. It was just rough. But anyway, she's asking about our friend, and he told her she was very rude. She's like, oh, you just Facebook friend request anybody? And he's like, I mean, it was a mutual friend. I was kind of told to, talk to her. So then the lady proceeds to ask about our lawyer. Oh, I see you have a lawyer. Whose idea was it to get this lawyer? And he said, it was mine. And she said, well, who's paying for the lawyer? And he said, she is. And, barely asked anything about the relationship. But then she proceeds to hand him 221G and says that he didn't tell her anything about our relationship. But she asked about our marriage plan, and she didn't like what he had to say. He said, well, due to the fact that, it's taking this long, we did have plans, but we don't have the money to put down. It's expensive. We don't want to be like Jenna and lose everything. So we were just, when he got here, we both in the state of Florida have to go to the courthouse together to file for the license. We were going to have 2 witnesses, and we were going to get married, and then in a few months have another ceremony that we could actually plan together and have my family come from New York, and he has an uncle in London that wanted to come over, and then his family can be on video while we did the proper ceremony. And she didn't like that at all. And so the 221G, they want more information about our relationship. We've handed them everything. I don't understand. We're just at a brick wall after all this time.
I'm sorry.
He sent everything today, in response. They wanted receipts, which he had the receipts. He had everything with him. She didn't ask for anything. So I just want to know what we're up against. My lawyer is advising me to go to his country and appear at the embassy and talk to them. Is that wise? What would you?
I'm generally opposed to that. How big is the age gap?
20 years.
So sometimes that becomes more readily apparent when you're sitting next to each other. So sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. I mean, generally, it's bad, and I think I've had embassies separate the couple and do a Stokes interview.
Right.
So I would probably vote no on that.
Okay.
How many times did you meet face to face before you filed the I-129F?
Twice.
Twice. So you when you came back from the second trip, that's when you filed?
Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. I'm just nervous. I'm sorry. So I went to him the first time. And then I came back and we filed. Then I went back 6 months later.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but we sent that evidence too. We sent everything.
Well, number one, I'm sorry you're going through this.
Thank you.
Number two, Bangladesh is a really tough embassy.
I know.
Number three, I've said this before on this show, but I'll say it again. The FBI,
Mhm.
the State Department, and USCIS are very concerned and have been for a while about white women going to Muslim countries and marrying men and bringing them to the United States.
Right.
So
I think you've said that.
I think you got a hard road to hoe ahead of that. I think the problem is this case is going to sit for a long time. I understand that and see, they can just sit on 221G for a while. Now, when did the State Department take the case?
I'm very confused.
Sorry. When did USCIS approve the I-129F?
It was back in February
of this year?
Yes.
So that's actually pretty quick.
Well,
the State Department, especially considering that you had moved the case from London to Bangladesh.
Yeah. So it took USCIS from December of 21 until February of 23.
What's that about?
Just because they had the backlog, they were backlogged.
Oh, so the approval of the I-129F was December of 21.
No, it was February of 23.
Oh, so the State Department. So the State Department's only had the case for 6 months.
Right. Yeah, that's what I got confused about. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You're fine. Did they give him a DS-5535?
No, it was just it was the green 221G.
Yep.
And he had to send his passport in. They did ask for his passport.
So that's a mildly good sign.
Right. So, but we had like over 10,000 chats.
What state do you live in?
How is he going to print this stuff out and send him everything, or send them everything?
What state do you live in?
I live in Florida.
So that's Rick Scott, who's a moron, and who's the other senator?
Oh God, yes.
Marco Rubio, little Marco.
Yeah, I tried to get help.
So they're not going to help you.
I tried to get his help, and he did try, but they wouldn't let him proceed any further. It's been a brick wall, just I feel like every step that we've taken, we've had to wait. We've had to do so much stuff. So he's not a staunch Muslim. Like, he doesn't go and pray all the time. His family absolutely loves me. They don't care that I'm Catholic. And I guess that's why they wanted to be outside to show support, just in case, they had asked or whatever.
But the embassy cares.
Right.
I mean, I became Muslim 25 years ago. The embassy cares about the religious match. So I'm not saying go convert or anything. I'm not saying that at all.
My thing is, had they focused on our actual relationship instead of asking silly questions and her licking their coffee cup, like.
Yeah, I'll tell you why that is. Do you know why that is? Because the decision was made before the interview.
And she rushed him. Like, she wouldn't even let him elaborate. You know, I've even tried to contact Argo Visa and but I can't afford it. I can't, unfortunately, because we're tapped out from all this, you know.
Sure.
He had to go home. He was working in London. Now you can't make any money in his country. He tried
Sure.
to find a job, but he's honest. And he's told them that he has a visa that he could be leaving at any time. So nobody wants to hire him. And it's just been rough.
So what's your question for me, Mariah?
I just wanted to know, what are the odds? Like, is this 221G not being like the white slip or the pink slip, like the dreaded ones or whatever? I mean, is there like a chance that
What are the chances that I think? What I think are the chances of him coming on this I-129F in the next year? I would say, 10 to 15%. Based on what I'm seeing, based on what I'm hearing from Bangladesh. Even when we sue them, we've had a hard time with them.
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh. Okay.
I'm sorry.
We're
Can
sure.
he get a visa to go back to London?
I don't think so. Not right yet, because we have this, and I don't.
Well, I mean, let's not go crazy. Maybe we get lucky.
Okay.
I probably shouldn't. I don't want to make you feel bad, but I'm just giving you my gut reaction.
I mean, we've been together for 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, my kids love him. So
Yeah.
hard. Sorry.
You're okay. You're okay. I would give it a couple months and let it see how it plays out. At that stage,
Okay.
you know, if you're 90 days in from Friday when he replied to the request for additional evidence, if you're at 90 days, then if you can afford to go over there, I might roll the dice and try to go.
Yeah.
Try to advocate for him and advocate for the relationship.
Yeah.
If that doesn't fly and they 221G it again, I would ask for my passport back, and I would try to get him a job, try to get him a visa in England, and I would try it with the London embassy and get out of Bangladesh. I mean, overall, that was the worst thing immigration-wise that happened in this case.
I know. We were so because that's why I had asked Rubio for help, because, you know, with his visa, like it shouldn't have taken this long, you know, and
that's just how it is.
I know. And, you know, we would have had time, and then we just missed it. You know. He had to go home in March, and here we are, April 11th. Our case was ready, and they were ready for an interview, and he had just, you know.
That sucks.
So we were just so upset about it, because we knew that if he was there, he'd have gotten it. But it's really hurtful. Like, I mean, what if we chose to drop this and get married? I mean, would that work?
Well, I would. You've got a lot invested in this particular case.
You do.
You just had the interview. You just got the documents, and I would give it 90 to 180 days before I did the marriage route. You might have to. That might be what happens. But I would, and that's what I meant about taking that shot. I mean, maybe what you do is you go there, you advocate for yourself, and on that trip, if it doesn't work out and you're feeling no love from them,
right,
then I think maybe you get married there in Bangladesh and then come back and file an I-130.
Okay. And he has to stay there the whole time, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Oh gosh. Okay. My head is spinning. Like, I'm just overwhelmed and, you know, upset. And then talking with Jenna, and she was telling me everything, and she was just rooting for us because of her mess. And then this happened, and it's horrible. I just feel like they should be treating these people a lot better, unless there's an indication otherwise. You know, he's never been in trouble. And
well, I'll tell you this: I've heard people treated a lot worse. Like,
really?
they were rude and gross. But
yeah.
But I mean, I've had cases in Morocco and Egypt, Cairo,
Yeah.
and Islamabad and Bangladesh where they just come out. They have these special people that work there, I think, that just come out and embarrass them. Why do you want to be with an old lady? Why? I mean, they just say horrible things.
Yeah, she did ask about age.
Yeah.
You know, when he said that age, you know, we started off as friends, and we developed a love and a bond, and age has no matter in this relationship. It never has.
Was she like an American lady, do you think?
Yeah, she was American because he speaks fluent English. I mean, his English is impeccable.
I
Honestly,
figured
he
if he
speaks
lived in
better
London.
than the T-Mobile and the AT&T people that you get a hold of. Like, you know,
Right.
I told him when he gets here, if he gets here, he better get a job like that, because I mean, his English is impeccable. So that's not, we don't, the only thing is the age difference. Other than that, everything, you know, his English is great. He's educated. You know, he was making money. He sent me more money when he was in London than I've ever had, or, you know, than I had to send him. It was more him trying to help me. So, you know, he really hated to take money from me. And this all started when he went home, because I kind of forced him to help. But yeah, you know, so I mean, we had all the receipts and everything. I even spent $200 to UPS him my divorce papers because they needed that, and then they didn't even ask for it. Oh,
Mariah, I got to get going. We're past
thank you.
time. I wish you the best of luck. Feel free to come back and talk to us. Let us know how things are going.
I appreciate you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we ended on a sad note, and Nurse Laura is right. They should be treating people better. And all of you, thank you for your support for Mariah. We'll be back tomorrow, last show of the week, 4 p.m. Central. Hey, it would mean the world to me if you had 60 seconds and could find us on Yelp. Look for Hacking Immigration Law on Yelp. Leave us a 5-star. We're trying to boost our presence on Yelp because people say mean things on Yelp, and they've left us some bad reviews. So some good reviews would be helpful. I hope you all have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central for episode